Today on an all-new Dr. Phil, the Aaron Hernandez suicide mystery continues.
It was reported he was gay.
I asked him if it was true.
What did he say?
Now,
There are people that think he is a gang-banging, murderous thug, and you are a ride-or-die woman that's stuck by his side.
his fiancee addresses the rumors.
Reportedly, a man named Kyle Kennedy and Aaron were prison lovers, and they requested to share a cell. You believe that?
The letters Aaron left behind.
There were multiple writings.
There was a letter for me. There's one addressed to our daughter.
Was there a letter addressed to Kyle Kennedy?
The exclusive interview on the same day the former football star's murder conviction was vacated.
Did Aaron kill himself so you could collect $6.5 million? Yesterday, we sat down with Aaron Hernandez's fiancee, Shayanna Jenkins Hernandez. Our interview took place just moments after major breaking news hit. Following Hernandez's shocking prison suicide by hanging, a judge vacated his murder conviction.
Judge Susan Garsh presided over the trial in which Aaron Hernandez was found guilty of killing Odin Lloyd. Today, she ruled that conviction will be vacated following the former Patriot star's suicide. Based on an old legal principle, lawyers for Hernandez argued that because the former Patriot star died before his direct appeal went through, his conviction should be tossed out.
In the interest of justice, the court has no choice but to abate the proceedings ab initio by vacating Hernandez's convictions and dismissing the charges against him and his appeal.
Odin Lloyd's mother, Ursula Ward, walked out of the courtroom immediately following the judge's decision, but says she's not angry and is holding on to her faith.
He's guilty, and he's gonna always be guilty. I know one day I'm gonna see my son.
Prosecutors argued Hernandez should not be rewarded for taking his own life. They say there's evidence Hernandez knew his death could clear his conviction. And in an appeal, prosecutors included Hernandez's suicide note to his fiancée that ended with the quote, "You're rich." But the judge says there's no way to truly know why Hernandez killed himself. The district attorney moments ago says that law is antiquated and they plan on appealing the decision made here today.
Right before we sat down, there was huge breaking news out of the court that Aaron has now been declared not guilty of murder. So I'm curious what your reaction is to that.
Well, of course, I'm thrilled. I mean, it's how it should have always been. I don't think that he should have been found guilty in the beginning. Honestly, I was shaking all of this morning. I had a smile on my face. I'm completely ecstatic.
It seems like a big thing to me as a parent, if I put myself in your shoes. His daughter does not have a convicted murderer as a father for the rest of her life.
I was very concerned about telling her about her father not being here, but more so the internet will always be around. So this is a huge win for her to see otherwise.
Now, you know as well as I do that a lot of people in America are going to say he's a gang-banging thug that got away with murder on a technicality. You don't see him that way.
No.
Did you know the person that he was convicted of murdering?
You're referring to Odin Lloyd? No, yes. No, very well, no.
And Odin had a relationship with your sister?
That's correct.
And what do you suppose their family's thinking today?
I don't know. I can only, speak about how I feel, and I'm thrilled.
But do you think they're sitting there today thinking, oh my God, the killer of our loved one, it's been written off, he has gotten away with it?
That's possible. I'm sure there's some hurt, but I think there's hurt all around.
Right. Was there division between you and your sister when all of this happened through the trial, Odin's death? Did it create problems between you and your sister?
It created a permanent problem, yes. We were sisters, of course, but we had our differences. This is not the first time that we haven't spoken. This is just something that now is reality.
So you would consider yourself long-term estranged from her?
As far as now?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
How long has it been since you've had a friendly relationship with her?
Years.
Were you friendly with her at the time of Mr. Lloyd's death?
Yeah, I mean, she would come and visit. It wasn't frequent.
That time it was on an okay time?
Right.
Was this the event that fractured it permanently?
I'd have to say yes.
So you think there's no coming back from that now?
I know that I can make family with anyone, and I've come across some great people in my life, great people that I've befriended, that I call brother, that I call sister, that my daughter now refers to aunt or uncle. I live for AVL. I used to live for AVL and Aaron, but now he's no longer. I live for AVL, and AVL is completely happy. And as long as that doesn't change, I'm not bothered. I know it may sound cold, but life goes on, unfortunately.
What's her problem with you over this? Does she think you've sided with Aaron against her and Mr. Lloyd? Is that the thing? She thinks you pick sides?
You know what? We never actually sat down to have a conversation after all was said and done. That very well could be how she feels.
Does she think Aaron murdered him?
I don't know what she thinks. I think it's the complete opposite. But, you know, everyone's entitled to their opinion.
So his conviction was vacated under the abatement rule, and you're very happy about that. Aaron has family members. Are they happy about this?
I don't talk to them. So I think the last time we had an encounter was the funeral. There's some estranged relationships. It's the same on his side as well. You know, like I said, you can create family with everyone.
So you don't get along with his family?
It's not that I don't get along with them. We just don't see eye to eye. So, and I'm sure anyone can relate with family members.
Do they love their son, Aaron?
I'm sure they do.
And you love Aaron?
Absolutely.
You have that in common. What are your points of contention?
I honestly don't know. And that's another situation that we haven't necessarily sat down and discussed. I think it was just high tension with everything going on. Everyone kind of was upset, sad. No one stood by his side but me. That's where my frustration lies.
You didn't feel like they supported him through the trial?
I don't.
Do they think he was guilty?
I don't know.
You don't know whether they did or not. Did they come to the trial?
The second trial? No, I believe I was the only supporter. I believe family members were there here and there. And I get everyone has their life. I made it my life. Granted, I'm not asking everyone to do that, but I didn't feel the support and the love that he should have gotten, that he gave back.
But they didn't rally around him?
No.
And stand by his side, in your opinion?
Maybe from a distance, which is fine.
All you can give is your opinion, and they're not here to defend themselves.
That's completely fair.
Did he leave a will?
He did not, from my knowledge.
And I don't mean to be crass about this so soon after his loss, but there's going to be a fair amount of money in play here, and you have a daughter to look after.
Right.
Is she entitled to that estate, in your opinion? You're not a lawyer. I'm not asking for a legal opinion. I'm just saying, as a mom, do you think she's entitled to that estate?
My thoughts are that she should be.
So in a perfect world, do you think she should be awarded whatever the estate is, and you should be the trustee to make sure that she gets what she needs?
I think that she should be taken care of, yes.
Are you the right trustee for that, as her mother?
As her mother, absolutely. I don't think there's any better.
Well, Aaron's family contests that.
Oh, I don't know. It's possible.
Did Aaron kill himself so you could collect this money? Did he kill himself so you could collect $6.5 million from the New England Patriots?
Coming up.
After his death, it was reported that he was gay. And you were his fiancee. Was he secretly gay?
And later.
Somebody would call you and say, go get a box, get it out of the house, and go throw it away. you took the box out, disposed of it without looking in it.
Right.
Their spin to the jury was, that's the murder weapon. It never occurred to you what might be in the box.
Aaron Hernandez's fiance addresses the rumors. A Dr. Phil exclusive continues.
Still grieving for Odin Lloyd, those who loved him wiped their tears in court Tuesday as the late Aaron Hernandez was cleared of his murder.
You can't just snap your fingers and say this didn't happen.
The district attorney is now calling on Massachusetts lawmakers to protect victims by changing a colonial law that dismisses convictions if the defendant dies during appeal. Prosecutors argued Hernandez took his own life because he knew this would happen, making his estate eligible for millions in bonus money. The conviction may be reversed, but the evidence doesn't disappear.
Did he kill himself so you could collect $6.5 million from the New England Patriots?
That I don't know.
Is that even a possibility?
That I can collect that money?
No, that he would do that so you could.
I think anything's a possibility, but I don't know what this doing was for. Again, if he was sitting right here, there's tons of stuff that I would ask. But I can't. And I can't speculate on what he was thinking or why he may or may not have done it. Whatever the case is, it's unbelievable to me. I don't believe any of it, and I don't believe that would be the cause.
After his death, it was reported that he was gay, and you were his fiance. Was he secretly gay?
The Aaron that I know, no. I had no indication or any feeling that he was such. He was very much a man to me. I don't know where this came from. It's embarrassing in a sense. It's hurtful, regardless if it was true or not. It's just not something that I saw. It's not something that I believe, and it's just not him.
Prosecutors did not tell you this, or they did tell you this?
The prosecutors? They did not.
They did not tell you this?
No. Well, I mean, it was brought to my attention, but not by the prosecutors.
Who brought it to your attention?
It was his defense team.
They told you that this was being floated around?
Correct.
This never came to your attention until after his death, or before?
As far as these
That
rumors,
he might be gay?
it was before.
Did you ever ask him about it?
We had a conversation, yes.
What did you say to him?
I asked him if it was true,
And what did he say?
that it wasn't.
He said flat out no?
Yeah, no, that it wasn't.
When you asked him, did you ask him in passing or did you press it? Did you accuse him? Did you ask him? Did you confront him? How did you ask him?
No, you never approach any situation by accusing. So I asked, he told me, and that was it. I don't press any situation.
Did the prosecutors hope that this revelation might cause you to flip on him and line up against him in some way?
There's nothing to flip.
Had Aaron gotten wind that this was going public and get into the general knowledge base, including inside the prison?
That I don't know.
Was he concerned about that? Did he say?
I mean, who wouldn't be concerned with rumors as such? But I don't know if he got wind that it may be released.
There was a radio show that reported that Aaron was gay. What do you know about that?
I don't know much, honestly. I try to stay away from the media. I don't watch TV, really. So I know very little.
A man named Kyle Kennedy, his lawyer came forward claiming that Kyle and Aaron were prison lovers and that they requested to share a cell. Do you believe that?
No, I don't. I don't know who this Kyle Kennedy is. I've never heard of him, honestly. Aaron has never mentioned him. And Aaron liked to be in a single cell, from my knowledge.
Right.
So,
Did this come to your attention before or after he passed?
after.
After. The day after the alleged suicide, the prison put Kyle Kennedy on suicide watch because they say they knew the depth of their relationship. What's your response to that?
I don't have one.
According to Kyle Kennedy's lawyer, Aaron purportedly wrote Kyle a note. Is that true?
Coming up.
There were multiple writings. Is that true?
Multiple writings, yes.
Do you have the letter that they say was for Kyle Kennedy?
Aaron Hernandez's fiance addresses the rumors. A Dr. Phil exclusive continues.
The last inmate to visit Hernandez in his cell was a 22-year-old armed robber friend from Worcester.
He and Aaron Hernandez were close friends and spent a great deal of time together in prison.
Kennedy's attorney said the two had requested to room together, said Hernandez wrote letters to Kennedy's family, including this one. Tell the family I said hi and I hope all is well. He said Hernandez promised him the watch he's seen wearing in this photo.
It was a custom-made watch for him with a price tag of $47,000.
He said Kennedy was stunned when he found out about the death, which was ruled a suicide.
According to Kyle Kennedy's lawyer, Aaron reportedly wrote Kyle a note. Is that true?
A suicide note, in a sense? No, that's not accurate.
What is accurate?
It's accurate that he doesn't have one. There's nothing for Kyle Kennedy.
There was nothing for Kyle Kennedy?
That's correct.
Do you have the letter that they say was for Kyle Kennedy?
It's non-existent.
It's not. There
No.
isn't a letter.
Right. No, there's no letter for Kyle Kennedy. There was a letter for me.
But there were multiple writings. Is that true?
Multiple writings, yes.
One reportedly addressed to Shay.
Right.
What other writings were there, and who were they addressed to?
There's one addressed to our daughter, and then there was another one to his lawyers.
To his lawyers?
Yeah.
So the one to his daughter, did that seem authentic to you, or did it seem awkward like the one to you?
Yeah, it wasn't personal, but it did have her name on the top, as normal. But as far as the content, very vague, very short. Nothing seemed very personal, very loving, of course, sensitive, but nothing personal.
Did it reference anything that only he would know between the two of them, or
No.
any pet phrases or anything that only he would know?
No, not at all. I feel like with this being such a high-profile case, any kind of information can be gathered and put into something. I feel like writing a 4-year-old, you can kind of say anything. You're talking about a guy who was present but not present. So no, it wasn't personal in that way, where he was referencing games or pet names or favorite books. It was nothing like that.
So there were 3 letters.
Correct.
One addressed to Shay.
Right.
One addressed to your daughter, and one addressed to his lawyers.
Counsel, yes.
No letter to Kyle Kennedy.
No letter to Kyle Kennedy.
So when his lawyer or the prison say there was a letter addressed to Kyle Kennedy, that's just wrong.
That's correct. There was no letter to Kyle Kennedy.
And if there is, you haven't seen it.
That's correct.
And they say Aaron called him by his nickname, Pure, P-U-R-E.
And this is Kyle Kennedy?
Right.
Never heard of him. Never heard of him. What a nickname, huh?
Yeah.
Never heard of him. Pure. Pure being behind bars, huh?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
He never mentioned him to you as even a buddy or somebody that he knew?
No, I mean, it never to the point where it stuck out. So if he mentioned him, it was slightly or not at all.
Not enough that you'd remember?
No.
Wow. There's the old saying that hindsight is 20/20, that we miss things as they're happening, but at the end we look back, and looking back you go, oh, wow, I now see this, that, or the other. You don't see any indication of Aaron being gay, Aaron having any gay relationships that now you would look back and go, wow, that looks suspicious.
Coming up.
Somebody call you and say, go get a box, get it out of the house, go throw it away. You took the box out and disposed of it without looking in it.
Right.
Their spin to the jury was, that's the murder weapon. It never occurred to you what might be in the box. Closed captioning provided by
Aaron Hernandez's fiance addresses the rumors. A Dr. Phil exclusive continues.
The prison here is in lockdown. The only visitors allowed in are attorneys, and Kyle Kennedy's attorney says state officials are refusing to turn over a letter Kennedy believes Aaron Hernandez wrote and left that was intended for him. Kyle Kennedy thinks he was probably the last fellow inmate to see Aaron Hernandez alive before guards found the former Patriot star hanging in his cell.
You don't see any indication of Aaron being gay, Aaron having any gay relationships that now you would look back and go, wow, that looks suspicious.
No, looking back, I had no one coming up to me saying, you know, he's grabbing me inappropriately, or we're doing this or we're doing that. Never anything. And as such. And I mean, he had many people that loved him and loved to be around him. He was a goofball, but nothing to that extent as this gay rumor is surfacing.
And again, I want to say, of course, it would impact you, but if he was gay, he was gay. I mean, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that.
Right.
If I was his fiance, I would want to know it.
Oh, 100%.
But if that's who he is, that's who he is. But if it was used as leverage against him in an environment where it would be judged, then his fear that that might come out and create him conflict in some way, one could argue that it could be a motive for suicide because he didn't want to face the drama of that coming out in that environment, or the conflict that that would bring out in that environment, or the contrast to the image that he had, you know, in being the masculine football player, et cetera, and that people that would, in ignorance, judge that you can't be both,
right?
Which you certainly can, but people that might judge that, it could be argued that he panicked and didn't want to face that. Does that sound like Aaron?
It doesn't sound like Aaron. Aaron never necessarily ran from a situation. I feel like if that was him, I wouldn't fault him for that, if that's how he felt. You know, you have to live your life. I'm not a malicious person. If that's the way he wanted, I can accept that. But it was never, you know, it just wasn't him. He never laid it out there that this was him. And I mean, he had the resources too. I mean, we're in 2017. There's so many people that are coming out that feel comfortable in their skin. I didn't see him as being uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's why I wanted to say those kind of judgments would be ill-informed, ignorant judgments, but they do exist, and they could be in that prison population. And one could say he was running away from that, but that's, you're saying that's not who he is.
No.
Now, Kyle Kennedy's lawyer has made the following claims. He said that Aaron corresponded with Kennedy's family, that he wanted to give him a $50,000 watch, and that he told Kennedy in early March that he was thinking he was going to, quote, hang it up, LOL, close quotes. But you know nothing about any of that.
I don't. And it's funny because if Kyle Kennedy was such a close friend and Aaron was telling him he wanted to hang it up, he would still be here, because Kyle Kennedy should have, you know, poked that light bulb in somebody's head and been a true friend and stopped it. I think it's very foolish for a man or his counsel to come out and talk about a $50,000 watch when he has a child and offer his condolences to his fiance and his child, but then asking for such things or saying such things, it's not commendable.
Yeah, and you would think if Kyle had some indication if hang it up meant hang,
right,
he would have sounded a warning bell, right?
Right.
If he was a true friend. Doesn't seem to click, does it?
Not at all. Not at all. I think it's a crock of bull, to be honest with you.
Do you believe that the prosecutors communicated to you through your defense team that Aaron was gay in hopes that you would feel betrayed and perhaps flip on him.
I think that may have been their theory.
But was it their thought that if you believe that you might be offended, feel betrayed, feel rejected, and admit that you in fact hid the murder weapon?
Coming up.
You were talking at trial about the fact that Aaron called you the day after this murder. He asked you to remove a box.
Did you do anything with the box?
I did. I disposed of it.
Where did you dispose of it?
In a dumpster.
Is that odd in your opinion? Closed captioning provided by
Aaron Hernandez's fiancee addresses the rumors. A Dr. Phil exclusive continues.
Did you have a phone call from the defendant?
Yes.
And that he asked you to do something?
He told me to go downstairs in our storage room and remove a box from our home. I put it in the trunk of Shayanna's car.
Okay. Now, did you do anything with the box that was in the bag that was in the trunk of the car?
I did. I disposed of it.
Where did you dispose of it?
In a dumpster.
And where was the dumpster?
I don't know.
I asked you if you felt like the prosecutors communicated to your defense team that Aaron was gay in hopes that you would feel betrayed and flip on him. Was that their theory?
Oh, I don't know. It may have been.
You stand by what you said at trial?
Right. Which is 100% truthful.
You were talking at trial about the fact that Aaron called you the day after this murder, and there was some discussion. Do you recall sometime just after in the afternoon when you received these calls from the defendant that he asked you to do something? And you said yes. And what did he ask you to do? And you responded to remove a box.
Just how heavy was this now bag with the box in it?
Maybe 35 pounds, 40.
Okay. And as a result of it being that weight, did you have some difficulty carrying this bag with the box in it?
I believe I did.
Okay. So where would you have gone to take this box and to place in a dumpster?
In regards to going to get items, or?
No, just in terms of your own memory, where driving around, where did you go to dispose of this box?
I don't know. I found a random dumpster. I don't remember where exactly it was located.
When you say you were driving around, what was causing you to drive around?
I mean, nerves.
What were you nervous about?
I mean, just everything going on. I mean, I was still set out to get things for my daughter. So there's just so many reasons why I was driving around.
You said you didn't look in the box. You don't know what was in the box.
Right.
You put it in the trunk, and you went and disposed of it.
That's correct.
And that's what you said at trial. That's what you say now. Is that odd in your opinion?
Odd to dispose of a box?
Yeah, if somebody call you and say, go get a box, get it out of the house, and go throw it away.
No, honestly, because if you called me or someone else called me, I probably would do the same thing today.
Yeah. Were you curious about it?
No.
Did you know that Odin Lloyd had been killed?
At that point, I believe I did, yes.
And did you know that Aaron was at all a suspect?
I knew he was questioned, I believe, at that point, but not necessarily, being looked at.
Right. And you, at one point, were charged with perjury.
That's correct.
But then those charges were dismissed because they felt like you were completely truthful at trial when they actually considered it as you testifying against Aaron at trial.
Right.
Is how they characterized it. Did you testify against him at trial?
Testify against him?
Uh-huh.
Not necessarily. I testified to the truth.
You testified to the truth.
That's correct.
And the truth was that you took the box out as you've described in your testimony and disposed of it without looking in it.
Right.
and they took that as looking suspicious.
Right,
That was
I guess
their
so.
spin that they
Right.
put on that a murder has taken place. He calls you, says, go get in the storage room, get this box, get the hell out of there and go throw it away somewhere. And their spin to the jury was, that's the murder weapon. He asked her to get it, she went and threw it away. And to some extent, the jury must have believed that because they returned a conviction, and you told the truth about that at trial.
Right.
So that's what I did.
Right.
And how did he feel about you testifying about that?
I think he understood. We had that kind of relationship, so kind of have to do what you have to do. And like I said, I told the truth, and that's all I could do.
Right. Aaron calls you, says, go get in the storage room, get this box, get the hell out of there and go throw it away somewhere. It never occurred to you what might be in the box?
No.
You never thought about that?
No.
You don't nag, you don't ask questions, you just do it.
I mean, I ask questions, but you know, like I said, I pick and choose my battles.
It's over now, and he's gone. Could that murder weapon have been in that box?
Coming up.
When you threw the box away, did you have any sense that you were doing anything wrong?
Aaron Hernandez's fiance addresses the rumors. A Dr. Phil exclusive continues.
It's over now, and he's gone. Could that murder weapon have been in that box?
Could have. I will never know.
Do you wish you'd look, or are you glad you didn't?
Glad I didn't.
Why?
I don't want to know anything that can haunt me in a sense. I'd rather be in the dark with a situation like that.
You'd rather not know?
Correct.
Mm-hmm. When you threw it away, did you have any sense that you were doing anything wrong?
No, no. I don't think I have done anything wrong throughout this whole process.
The casket containing the body of Aaron Hernandez leaves the funeral home here in Watertown, the first step in the final journey home for the former Patriot star. Earlier, Shayanna Jenkins Hernandez was seen leaving with family members. In a statement released today, the family said, "We wish to say goodbye to Aaron in a private ceremony and thank everyone in advance for affording us a measure of privacy during this difficult time."
When was the funeral?
The funeral took place on April 24th.
It's difficult for me to advise families with children about how to handle things with little ones that don't have a full concept of death.
Right.
How did you handle it with your daughter?
I'm very honest with my child. I allowed her to view her father's body in private, just us, and say her last goodbyes. I didn't want her to grow up and think that she couldn't say goodbye. We put a chain in the pocket of his jacket. She kissed it, I kissed it. She has the other half. She has a necklace with his ashes. I just thought it was very important for her to grasp what was going on, and she does very well. I explained to her that Daddy won't call anymore. Daddy won't be able to, talk, but she gets it. She gets it, and we talk about her emotions. I ask her how she feels. She'll ask me how I feel. Some days she's sad. Some days she cries. I hold her and make sure she's okay.
How did she say goodbye to him?
She found the courage to actually touch his hand. And I think that she built up some encouragement to say goodbye.
Did you have to pick her up where she could see in?
Yes, if I didn't pick her up, she wasn't going anywhere near. Yeah.
Yeah, but she was able to touch his hand?
She did.
Mm-hmm. And she has the other half of that chain?
She does.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think I give you very high marks for the way you handled it with her. I think she'll be very grateful for your doing that.
Thank you.
In years to come.
I hope so.
Yeah, sure she will. There are people that think he is an absolute bad guy, gang-banging, murderous thug, and you are a ride-or-die woman that's just stuck by his side What do you want those people to know about him? Closed captioning provided by...
At just 20 years old, Hernandez became the youngest NFL player on an active roster. He entered the NFL draft shortly after his junior season, but some teams steered clear, given Hernandez's reputation for marijuana use, guns, and gangs. Some who knew him considered his choice of friends thugs. But that didn't keep the New England Patriots away. They got it wrong. That's all Aaron Hernandez had to say as he began his life sentence without parole for murder. That was April 2015. It was a stunning fall from grace for a player with so much promise.
What do you want people to know about him? How do you want people to consider him other than the way they see? Because they see him with the tattoos, they see him with all of these stories swirling around him, that he was a member of a gang, that he was involved in not one, not two, but 3 murders. 2 he's been found not guilty of. Now, a 3rd one he's been found not guilty of because of this abatement rule in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. What do you want those people to know about him?
Well, I think everyone's entitled to their opinion. Let's get that out of the way. But Aaron, I want him, one, to be known as innocent, because he was. And he was full of life. So sweet, very lovable, would do anything for anyone. And I know there's many people out there, but he just had something about him that regardless of who he met, what room he walked into, he can make everyone laugh. He's just to me, a great guy, the love of my life, the father of my child. I just want him to be known for what he is instead of what people are speculating him out to be from what they see on TV. They want to make him out to be this monster, and he's not. People that don't even know any of us have such hatred. I just ask that people live life. I'll continue living mine. I'll do the best that I can being a mother, a single mother at that, and raise a great child to instill that in her children or to help somebody else out. I think this whole situation has been nothing but tragic all the way around. I just think that it's time for Aaron to be free. I think this is the perfect opportunity to move on with life and progress in a great direction.
Well, you're right, and you know it. There are people that think he is an absolute bad guy, gang-banging, murderous thug, and you are a ride or die woman that's just stuck by his side and either didn't know or pretended not to know what was going on. And I think you have told in a very articulate way how you see this from a different standpoint. And I don't hear you saying he was perfect.
No.
I hear you saying he had some friends you could do without, and he didn't make perfect choices.
Of course.
But I think you have, at least to the critics, an absolute minimum, described the rest of Aaron Hernandez. Even if people choose to focus on the bad side, you've said, here's the rest of Aaron Hernandez, even if you believe the worst.
Right. I think the media made it out to be a little bit more than it had to. He didn't have a chance when it came to the media, and I've been subject to it, and I've gone through my depression moments, anxiety, ways that I've never felt in my life. For him to be by himself and feel that way, I can only imagine. I don't wish it upon anyone. Like I said, this is very tragic, and I think it's time to let his name rest. I think that there's a child at the end of the day that we have to look at, a 4-year-old little girl that adores her father. And I think that it's time for her to have closure in a sense. And I just think it's time to have a fresh start.
Well, I certainly wish you best with this lovely child that you have.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure.
Okay,
Thank you.
I want to thank Shayanna Jenkins Hernandez for sharing her story. We wish the very best for her and certainly for her 4-year-old daughter. The mother of Odin Lloyd has filed a wrongful death case for her son against Hernandez estate. We will follow this story as it continues to unfold. Thanks for watching.